amusement park in the Midlands in England. It's an amusement park like any other, with roller coasters and rides, kind of similar to Six Flags or something like that. I've got two maps I'm going to show you. One is from 2012, that's this one, and one is from 2013. I didn't actually end up going last year. So let's open it up. There's loads of information on the back of all the different areas. So, this is a map of Alton Towers. It's super colourful and exciting to look at. Lots of different graphics and animation and stuff. I really like the maps. Very cool. So Alton Towers, as you can see in the middle, is the actual towers. Originally this was a stately home that was owned by a noble family. I don't know who originally had it built, but for a long time it was somebody's home, and this was their gardens and acres of land that they owned. So the last family who actually owned it were called Alton, and they changed the name to Alton Towers. And then one day it had been empty for years. Alton still owned it, but it wasn't in use, and the house was falling apart and becoming decrepit and old. And then a park company approached the family and bought the towers and the land with the intention of building an amusement park. And that is now why we have Alton Towers. So I've been going here for a long time. I used to go with my family when I was a kid, and I've gone quite a few times as an adult as well, and twice in the last 3 years. So I have done most of the rides. So let's start in this section up here. This section is an area I don't know very well. You have the Alton Towers Hotel right here, which also contains the conference centre for like conferences and meetings and stuff. They must have events and things like that, but I've never been there. And then you have the Alton Towers Spa, which is right here behind the hotel. Also never been there, but a very good business idea. And then you also have a water park up here. I've never been to the water park because the weather is never good enough, I think, to go to a water park in England. And then the water park also has its own hotel, which is here, called the Splash Landings Hotel. And then if we move over to here, there is a golf course called Extraordinary Golf. I've also never been to the golf course. So from here, you can catch the monorail, which takes you over the hills, through the rides, all the way down to This first area here is called Mutiny Bay, and it's kind of set up like an old pirate village. There's not many rides here, it's more kind of like those fairground games where you throw balls and try and knock over the ducks, and shooting at the target and stuff like that, and a lot of like food places here. This part is the bit that always sticks in my memory the most, because as a kid we always obviously used to come in through the main entrance here, but I always have such a strong memory of this area of the park because it's the first thing you see when you come in. So they also have little pirate shows here, which are geared more to children. And they also have a little lake here. I think they do a show on the lake as well, and they have these like big swan boats that you can rent and like row around the lake in a giant swan, which is pretty cool. So if we move over this way, Mutiny Bay is quite a large area, as you can see here, and you have the water rides over here. This is called the Conga River Rapids, but I always like to call them the Rubber Dinghy Rapids. If you've ever seen a film called Four Lions, you'll know what I mean. So this is kind of like your standard rapids water ride. There you sit in a large round rubber dinghy, and you go through waters with the various currents, and you get splashed and you get quite wet. I mean, it's the look of the draw really. You might sit somewhere where you hardly get splashed, or you know, the person sat opposite you will get absolutely soaked and you'll be dry. It's just the look of what happens. And then I guess you got a Burger King there. And here's the other water ride called the Flume. And this one's kind of like you sit in like a hollowed out tree log, and there's 4 people per log, and you go along a water filled like piping system, and there's like a big drop you can see there with a big splash. I find the big drop on this one, it's a classic ride that's made of wood, and it's kind of rickety, and the carriage is like a train, and yeah, it's one of those kind of rides. This was the first roller coaster I was ever able to go on once I got tall enough. And then over here there's a ride called Duel, which is in like this little house, and Duel is like a haunted house kind of ride, but it's also like a laser shooting game. So you kind of you have to shoot lasers at the skeletons when they jump out at you and stuff. It's quite fun, and a good one as well if you're with kids or younger people. And then up here we have the Gloomy Wood, which is where Nemesis and Nemesis Subterra are. Now Nemesis is one of the older roller coasters too, but it's a modern metal roller coaster. The story of Nemesis is that it's apparently an alien that was living underground that has been unearthed, and the roller coaster itself is apparently the alien's body. You can see in this middle bit here, that's supposed to be kind of like, I don't know, part of the alien, like its rib cage or something. You see bones sticking out there. Nemesis is fun, it's exhilarating. It's got a loop, you go upside down, it's fast. If you like roller coasters, this is an all-around fun roller coaster that's not too scary, but it's still thrilling. Then you have Nemesis Subterra, which was new in 2012, the year I went. And it was kind of like context ride where they tell you a story and there's actors, and it's not much of the ride itself, it's more just the kind of circumstances and the concept of the piece is what is kind of scary. So there's a lot of actors and it's underground. It's quite fun. I was really, really scared the first time I went on it, but the second time I thought, well, I know what to expect. So I wasn't so scared the second time round. Nemesis Subterra. And then let's go over here to the Blade. And the Blade is, like the big pirate ship that swings back and forth. It absolutely terrifies me. I really don't like that one. I don't like the feeling of, I don't know, that feeling when you're on a roller coaster and you do a big drop and it's kind of like you left your stomach behind you. On a roller coaster I quite enjoy that feeling, but on the Blade, because it swings so slowly, the feeling of leaving your stomach behind lasts such a long time. I don't enjoy it. Then we have Ripsaw here, which is quite a smaller ride. You sit in a row of 10 people, roughly, and it's kind of like a shelf, and it rocks back and forth like that, and then it goes upside down, and as you're upside down, water sprays you in the face. So that one's fine. I like it. And then we have one of the most popular rides here called Air, which is this blue one. This blue one all around here. Air is cool because it feels like you're flying. You kind of, the seats, you sit down and then the seats move backwards so you're facing the ground with your back to the roller coaster grids. So it feels like you're flying, and it's not very fast as well. It's a really nice one. It's a feel-good kind of Superman feeling ride. It's one of the most popular ones. It's relatively new as well, the last like 10-12 years. And then over here we have the Dark Forest. And I like this area because it's got one of my favourite rides in it, which is called 13. 13 is built right into the woods, so when you're on the ride you're surrounded by the trees and the forest. And also the thing about 13 was that it was the first one that had a free fall drop, where they cut the electricity and you just drop free fall, and like the feeling when you know it's coming is really scary, but then you actually only drop about a meter, so it's not a very big drop, but it's still really scary. And then there's a bit where you go backwards in the dark, which was really cool. And also I really like the adverts for 13. They're on YouTube if you want to see the advert for 13, but it had a really cool kind of creepy advert and a good marketing scheme. And then we have Rita. Rita's okay. I'm not a massive fan of Rita. Its gimmick is that it goes from 0 to 80 miles per hour in like 5 seconds. So it's super fast. But that's it. I don't know. It's okay. I will go on it, but it's not something I'd go on twice in one day. And then we have this part of the park called Cloud Cuckoo Land, which is also another children's area. I'm sorry, I don't know much about it. And then let's move into the towers. Now there's a ride inside the towers called Hex, and it's pretty chilled. Like, you're strapped in and they tell you like a story about the towers. I can't remember what the story was, and you can go on that with young children as well. But basically the room around you moves, and it gives you like the sensation that you're going 360 degrees. So it's kind of like an optical illusion, and that optical illusion is really, really good. Like, I remember had to sit in the courtyard in the middle of the towers and have a sandwich and just chill for like 5-10 minutes. And it was actually there where I had like an ASMR experience when I was spaced out. My friend, she was like, opened the map and was like, oh, okay, where are we going to go next? Well, we could go here or we could go here. And just like seeing her talk about it and point at the map was really, really lovely. I always like her hands. She has very graceful hands anyway. And then we have the gardens here, which are really lovely. But, you know, it takes a lot of time to walk through them. We once walked through them because we thought it was a shortcut. And it took forever, but it's really nice. You have like water and lots of different garden areas and statues and things. They have this lovely Japanese sculpture here that I really liked. Yeah, it's good. Okay, now let's get going down here. This is Sonic Pinball in Adventureland, and this is an amazing ride. It's like a roller coaster, as you do a normal roller coaster, but the carriage is shaped like a pinball, and you have 4 people sat inside the pinball, and the pinball also spins as you're going round. And I think the spin is just like independent, like I don't think it's powered by electricity, it's just, you know, the momentum of going around on the roller coaster propels the pinball to spin. But it's so much fun, it's really good. But this is the one of the ones that if it's raining even just a little bit, they will turn it off, or they will say it's only 2 people per pinball, things like that, which is a shame as it rains a lot in England. Now, which bit haven't we talked about? I guess this was the new Ice Age 4D area that wasn't ready when I was there, or maybe it was ready but we didn't see it. And then we have the X sector, which is the area that has the most like extreme rides, I suppose. This one is Oblivion, which I absolutely hate. It's basically just one giant vertical drop, and that's it. That's all there is to the ride, is that is this big vertical drop. I really, really, really don't like that ride. I'm never gonna go on it again. I've been on it twice. Yeah, twice. And the second time I went was because my friend had never been on it before, and she was like, oh, I don't want to go on my own. And I was like, I felt bad. I couldn't let her go on it on her own, so I went with her, but never again am I gonna do that. Never again. Here you can see there's something under construction, which I'll show you in the next map. And then you have a ride down here called Enterprise, which is kind of like a Ferris wheel that starts horizontal and then moves upwards. So it starts horizontal like that and then moves. I didn't like it. It really freaked me out. But I would go on it again, I think, because the thing is that you're in these little cards, but you're not strapped in. Something about the physics of the motion of when it starts going vertical, that you stay in your seat, you don't fall out of your seat. And I don't know, I felt like I was falling out of my seat though, so I didn't like it. There's another one in this area called Submission, and it's kind of like a shelf and you go upside down and around, but when you're upside down you can hear all these like nuts and bolts rolling around inside the ride. Not nice. So that's everything I think I've gone through. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Let's have a look at 2013, shall we? was new in 2013. The marketing campaign for the Smiler was pretty interesting. I found it quite scary because it showed people with these like really extreme faces, and their smiles were huge and their eyes massive, and it really kind of creeped me out. But the ride looked good. So the thing about it is that it's got 14 loops, 14 corkscrews or whatever you call it, 14 upside down circles, which is quite a lot in one ride, as I'm sure you know what I mean. So that was new in 2014. And here we go, let's open it up. Try to line up myself properly, there we go. So as you can see, not much has changed apart from this gigantic ride in the X sector, and I really enjoyed the Smiler. I found it really fun, not very scary, although there was one moment that I found really terrifying, but it was really fun going on the loops and stuff. And now that I've been on it and I know what to expect, I'm not afraid. But there's this bit where I think it's like halfway through the ride, you kind of go vertically up an area. It's either this bit or this bit, I can't remember. But you go up one of them, but it kind of tips you back onto your back 90 degrees. So you're looking straight up at the sky as you're climbing it. And I didn't like it because it felt like I was going to fall out, but backwards. It felt like I was going to fall out head first backwards. Even though I wasn't, it just felt like it because I could feel my body, my weight distribution moving, as if, I was more top heavy towards my head. Anyway, but it is very good, so if you're ever there, I'd say definitely try it. If you don't mind being upside down, then it's a ride you should definitely try. But then what else has changed? Not much. So you can see there's more about the Ice Age 4D area. They've put in all the little things that they have. So toadstool, carousel. There's a couple of kids rides, which is good. I always thought they needed more kids rides. Because this down here is also another children's area called Old MacDonald's Farm. I think they have some farm orientated things that you can do. What else? Anything else has changed? You can kind of see Nemesis Subterra there. It looks like an army bunker. The Dark Forest looks bigger. Oh, it looks cool. I like it. But yeah, during this time I went, they've changed the logo to the Smiler, and I think they had a special Halloween weekend planned or something. Okay. And it also tells you other things like where the toilets are, and if you need any help, if you have any questions about the park, public telephone, parking ticket areas, the medical centre, smoking areas. Not that that really stops people from smoking, not in the designated smoking areas, and also where there are cash points, and also where there are lockers if you want to put your bag in a locker. So yeah, that is Alton Towers. I think I will definitely go again this year because I didn't go last year. But I think this time I want to go for a couple of days and stay in the hotel, or stay in a hotel nearby, because I'd like to do 2 days in a row, because sometimes, with queues and everything, you don't always get time to do everything you want to do. see you soon.